Hey guys, welcome back to Stump 3.0. We've got something brand new, arrived direct from Kubey. I'm pretty excited about it. This is the KU217, and the reason I'm excited is because we're seeing Kubey use a brand new blade steel on this, one they haven't used before. Not brand new to the world, but brand new to Kubey. If you're not familiar with the Kubey brand, I really like the Kubey brand. I liked Kubey long before they ever started sending me samples of stuff. In fact, the reason they send me samples now is because I really like Kubey. Kubey is a brand that does a great job at doing away with the old thought that, only crappy knives come out of China. They have a wide price range. Some are high-end, some are very budget affordable. I have yet to look at a Kubey and test a Kubey, and I carry them around too. That isn't just a really solid, well-built knife. Pretty good for the money. So this is kind of how their higher-end knives come. Sometimes you just get a little black box that you open up, and there's your knife in like a plastic wrapper. Their higher-end series come in this kind of cool multicam zippered padded pouch, and the 217 is definitely one of those higher-end ones. Inside you get your microfiber cloth that a lot of these better knives come with. You get your little Kubey card and two pouches, so you theoretically could carry two knives in here, but you've got really nice padding in there. Like whatever you put in here is going to keep it pretty safe. It's a nice little pouch. Now, this is available I think in two colors, in black G10 or in tan G10, and I specifically picked out the tan G10 just for something different. Already it's got some heft and weight to it. You can see it's a full size, I was about to say a full frame auto. It's a full size knife. It's got some cool styling to it, so let's get into the bag and take a look. This is one of my favorite Kubeys of all. This is a discontinued one now. I think it's the model 003. They've replaced it with something else, but take a look at the marks on that blade. I mean, these guys make great users, and this is one of their budget lines, one of their budget blades. There you go. One of the first ones I had that they had bearings in, and it's awesome. I mean, I love this knife, so I'm going to use that to get us into here. Just thought it would be fitting. We've got tan G10 over inset steel liners, it looks like. Full G10 construction, nicely done G10 backspacer. Nice milling, so we textured G10 I should say, so you get a grip, but nice milling and cutouts on the G10. Fit and finish on this is pretty damn good. Almost perfect. Really interesting pivot design there too, just to give it a little bit of a flair. Interesting work on the clip too. Wow, that's a tight clip. Oh my gosh. But you can see that you've got jimping cut into the G10, both fore and aft. Like I said, it does have some weight to it. Perfect centering. I'm really excited to get into this. So, a very aggressive Tonto edge. Now, it is a little humid out here, so I'm not sure if this just has that kind of bead blast finish, and it's humid and we can't see it, or let me see. Let me wipe it down. Okay, yeah. I suppose I could use the cleaning cloth that came with it to get a better rub down than my shirt, huh? So it looks like it's got a two-tone finish with some satin flats and then some bead blast areas as well, which is really nice touch, yeah. Now, my only problem with bead blast is that you're going to show scratches, but I know a lot of people like their knives to show the character of the use, so this would be a great blade for that. Now, pretty comfortable, very nicely contoured. Feel that clip just a little bit in your hand, not too much, but it's there. Unfortunately, as you can see, you can't do anything with the clip. It is tip down, right hand only, no other option. But although it does look very dramatic in the shaping and the sculpting of the handle, it's a comfortable handle. It really fits your hand well. It does crowd my hand just a little bit because I have big hands. Like I'm always fond of reminding people when I'm holding knives. but it's comfortable. Could be a little bit more comfortable maybe if we had a little bit more space moving forward, or I had smaller hands, you know, you got a hand transplant, why not? But let's talk about this steel and why this is kind of a big deal as we look at this knife more. So N690 is a high-end steel. It's not used as often as some of the, you know, quote-unquote fancier steels. It's a stainless. What N690 does, it's similar in composition to, some people say 440C, some people say VG10. I really like VG10. VG10 is a great steel. It doesn't get enough credit. N690 is a very fine grain steel, and what that means is, what it translates into is you're able to hold a finer edge longer because the grains of the steel are finer and line up tighter together. What N690 also does, it's an incredibly corrosion resistant steel. It's very good if you're going to be in a humid area, a wet area, salt water, whatever like that. N690 is great for that. It includes a lot more cobalt than some similar steels, you know, all things being equal. So N690 is often used on knives that are intended to be used in wet areas. I'm trying to get that smudge off my blade, but there we go. You know, for Kubey to branch off from the standard D2 or the alphabet soup Chinese steel for the lower end models, or the S35VN, you know, which is kind of like, it's like the standard high-end steel now. For them to start working with stuff like N690, I'm really excited because it just kind of gives a whole another level to what the properties of the blade are and what it can do. It's pretty awesome. I really like N690. Some very high-end users make it. Boker on their high-end line uses it a lot. Extrema Ratio uses it. So it's not at all not a good, like a schlub steel. It's a very good steel. This knife is on bearings, of course, as so many are today, but Kubey bearings are actually very good, even in their more budget-friendly line. Great jimping on the liner lock. I'd like to be able to get my thumb in there just a little bit more, but very effective. And I was wondering how this kind of oblong thumb opening was going to work in lack of, you know, thumb studs, but it works pretty well. No wrist action required. It just opens up. Your lockup is pretty good. Let's just do that test right now, okay? Hasn't moved. No stickiness, and our centering has not traveled at all, and still very smooth. It takes a second to get used to that. You know, you just put your thumb where the thumb studs would be for a comfortable position for you, and give it a flick, and it opens. Now, if you take a look, and you know, this is just, of course, my sample. I don't know if they're all like this. There's a couple little rough fits with some screws, and I know this is early on in the production, so you know, they might make some improvements, but just slight mismatches here and there. If you're a user, it's not going to bother you in the slightest. If you're a collector, you might look at it and be like, hey, I want one that fits a little bit more perfectly. But Kubey, in general, their fit and finish is usually outstanding, perfect. This one just has a few minor mismatches here and there. Nothing that you would even notice if you weren't looking for it, though. I really love the two-tone blade finish, though. I think that's really nice, you know, aesthetically as it goes. Let's see. Now this paper is humid, which means it should have trouble with the paper test. If it does, we'll see what happens, but it doesn't. Can fall right through, and yeah, all right. Finishing is awesome. Do our pull through. Wow, it's like this cord isn't even there. Let's do a slice. Awesome. I mean, like, you can't even feel it move. Oops. So, excellent blade finish on there. If you can see, I mean, it's almost, you know, normally to get a mirror edge on your edge, you have to work at it. It comes just pretty much there. I think one thing that might throw some people off is the weight. It is a little heavy, but I think there's just a lot of steel involved and a nice big blade for lots of heavy type use. You get an excellent grip with the texturing on the G10, and even though the jimping's not on the blade, the jimping here is a little soft but effective. There's no good way to choke up. Well, actually, I take it back. I was about to say there's no good way to choke up on this knife, but this makes for an excellently secure hold. You know, I was just about to say there's no good way to choke up on this knife, but I take it back. This actually gives you a pretty secure hold and lets you get fine control of that tip. So overall, I think it's you know, it's a really nice addition to the Kubey family. I was very excited when I first saw this, and you know, they had just sent me a couple fixed blades to look at, and I said, "Hey, can I please look at that?" And they were like, "Sure, we'll send you one," and they got it right out to me. There's another new one coming out that I can't wait to see. I would be hard-pressed to pick my favorite model Kubey folder if I had to. I mean, there's always this guy, and this has stuck with me through thick and thin through a lot of stuff. I've actually not only recommended this one to a lot of people, but I've actually bought two for two of my viewers once upon a time. You know, people that I actually formed a personal relationship with. And just, I love this, but this isn't in production anymore, so it doesn't count. But I mean, I'd be hard pressed to really pick my favorite Kubey knife. They have so many really good designs, and they're always coming out with more. The thing about Kubey is whether you want to call it copied or inspired by or whatever, you know, you're not going to find a Kubey that looks like they did a runoff of someone else's knife. They're all original type designs, which is cool. So this guy definitely would go in my like it pile. I should have mentioned too, for as folders go, you know, whether it's EDC or you're going to take this out on I don't know if this is really hard use, but you can put this through some pretty good use, I think, but relatively thick piece of steel making up that blade as well. Okay, so let's talk about some ratings and some numbers. Let's start at the top of the list. Let's start with originality and departure from previous designs. And I'm going to give this a 4.5, and here's why. It does kind of remind me of some other things I've seen in the past out and about. But, I mean, I actually took the time, I stopped, I looked through Kubey's whole lineup. It really doesn't remind me heavily of anything else that Kubey's done. It's kind of, as far as Kubey goes, it's a fairly unique design, especially when you consider brand new blade steel. For them and stuff like that. I'm thinking I should have gotten the black scale. So I like the tan scales, but they do get dirty. Cleaning G10, by the way, very simple. Soft toothbrush and a little mild dish soap will clean it right up, unless you got it like very heavily stained. So you can see it getting a little bit dirty just because my hands were a little dirty when I started everything. That'll clean right out. But 4.5 for originality and departure from previous designs. Fit and finish also gets a 4.5. Now, you know, it is, again, brand new, like right off the line, so there might be some teething problems with a new design. Normally, Kubey would get a 5, fit and finish. There are just some minor lineup issues, and that just might be the one that I have. But it is a really, really well put together piece. Slight, tiniest room for improvement, though, so 4.5. Function and mechanics, it's going to get a 4 for two main reasons. Number one, it would be great to be able to position this clip, you know, for tip up carry, and maybe give the lefties an option too. And I would love just a little bit more room. Now, you can get to that liner using your thumbnail easily, but I would love just a little bit more to get the rest of my thumb on it. It's minor. You can do that yourself with a Dremel if you want, but 4 is still a pretty good score. Practicality and utility also gets a 4 for the one reason that it is big. So when it comes to some local laws, it might be out of bounds. I love the size of it. I do. I think it's a great size for a lot of stuff. But, you know, you might have to consider the practicality of having such a big blade on you. It does have a little bit of weight to it, which, again, I like, but I know a lot of people don't. So, 4. Production out of the box standards, of course, it gets a 5. Everything about it is great. Works amazing. Blade razor sharp right out of the package. And of course, you know, centering is awesome. The bearings are awesome. Everything about it is great. Comfort and feel also takes a 4. It is very, very comfortable. Contouring is just, like I said, feels a little bit crowded for me because I have ridiculously large hands, but normal human beings should hold this just fine. I'd love a little bit of jimping on the spine right there, but, you know, that's me being nitpicky. Cool factor, I'm going to give it a 4 as well. That is a cool looking knife. I think that there are some people that are going to be put off a little bit by the contouring of the handle. There are going to be some people that are going to be put off a little bit by the shape of that cutout there too. I think that it does have a cool factor in just the general shape. I love the grind. It's, you know, it's an all-around, it's a, you know, kind of, again, cool conversation starter kind of knife. It's a unique looking shape. People are going to want to say, hey, what do you got in your hand? So I'm going to give it a 4 there. Quality materials, I'm giving it a 4.5. A little bit of room to go up. Like I mean a little bit. I could totally see Kubey making a higher end version of this with maybe titanium and like M390, or, I mean, I hate for them to just go back to, like, I love that they're using N690 here, but yeah, there is like a small step up they could go. I think that these are great materials though for a knife. G10 is one of my favorite handle materials. N690, like I've said several times before, awesome blade steel, especially if you want something that's going to resist corrosion and stuff. So, way to go. Value of ownership and collectability is the one place where this is really going to take a hit, because it's a full production knife, you know, so we're going to give it a 3. It is very reasonably priced for the materials you've got here. And I think that's kind of, you know, in terms of, I don't want to say Kubey shot themselves in the foot there, but not that Kubey cares about my ratings, okay? I'm not trying to make it out like that. But in terms of this one rating for value of ownership and collectability, for the materials you're getting, I know that $60 is not affordable for everybody, but for the design, for the engineering, for the materials you're getting, $60 is a good price for this. And it's, you know, a full production knife. It's not a mid-tech, not a custom, so it's going to be within reach of a lot of people. You're going to see this in a lot of places, and I'm not sure if, because it's going to be so available, you know, aftermarket value is going to be high. I think it's worth owning, okay? So that's a whole different thing. I think it's definitely worth having, but, you know, it's collectability factor, I don't think it's as high as some other ones that Kubey puts out. I think that it's definitely worth having though. So that's a, you know, kind of a different kind of thing. But we're going to give it a 3 in that category. For value to price ratio, I'm giving it a 5. For a big hunk and chunk of steel N690 blade like that, for solid G10 handles like that, with, you know, not plastic, but milled out G10 backspacer, inset steel liners, bearings, all this, yeah, absolutely. I think that $59.99 is a fair and fine price for this. And I know some people are going to say, I don't want to spend that much on a knife made in China, but, you know, I used to hate all things made in China too. But, I mean, there are just some companies that are doing really, really well with the Chinese-made stuff now. Kubey is one of them. And I think that there are some companies that have ridden so long simply on the Made in the USA label that, you know, the American companies do have to up their game when it comes to comparing to some of these really well-done Chinese brands. So the total score there makes it 42.5, which means that its overall average score is a 4.25. That's pretty good. I would say that if you're interested in this, it's worth the purchase price. I like having it in my hand. I would maybe recommend, unless you really like the tan, I would recommend the black G10. Unless you know, if you're one of those guys or gals though that likes that, you know, the character on your knife, that likes the scrapes on the blades, that wants to see that discoloring there, tan is awesome. You can see it's getting there right now though, just because I've been doing some other work, you know, prior to this, and so it's getting on that G10. All light colored G10 does that though. Orange G10. Very popular color G10, horrible at getting dirty. This is on my Amazon influencer list. It's definitely on Video Reviewed Knives. I'm gonna have to carry it a little bit more. If you find it on favorite folders, don't be surprised though. I really am liking this. right now. I don't see myself not liking it or liking it any less in the future for any reason. It does take a little bit, like I said, a little bit getting used to the wide, kind of thumb opening area. I guess that's good though. Depending on your hand size, you get to figure out what you want. That's the one thing that is sort of like the big getting used to it factor. Is figuring out exactly where to put your thumb. But I love Kubey, and I have loved them since the very first time I held a Kubey knife. They were, in fact, one of the first Chinese companies that started to change my mind about the possibility of Chinese-made blades. Seriously. So, I definitely, if you've got the $60 to spend and you want a high-end knife, this I would qualify as a higher-end blade. Not the highest, but definitely not budget blade quality. This is going to perform for you, I think, for a while, like if you got one knife to carry, one money to spend on one knife and carry around, I think this is gonna, I feel like this is gonna do really well for you. So it's gonna be, as always, in my pocket for the next little bit, and if there's anything that I feel like I need to report back, I'll do a follow-up video. But now I'd like to open the floor and the comments section to all of you guys. What do you think? I know that there's a big contingent of my viewers that are very anti-Chinese blade and won't carry Chinese-made stuff. I get it. I would encourage you to give this one a chance, though, being a different kind of steel than you're used to. If you're ever willing to make the jump, this is a great one to do it with, because it's not the standard D2 or 9CR13 or similar stuff. So. Anyway, your thoughts, guys. What do you think? Anybody want to share, just out of curiosity, a good Kubey story? Does anybody have a bad Kubey story? I don't know anybody who's gotten a Kubey and hasn't been happy with it. So if anybody does have that story, I would be open to hearing it too, just for fairness sake. But anyway, thanks to Kubey for sending me the KU217 to check out. I got another Kubey fixed blade, small EDC sized fixed blade to do a video. Ethan, I need you to be quiet, okay? I got another Kubey fixed blade, a smaller EDC sized, to video up for you guys, and there's another one I'm hoping they're gonna send me a sample of real soon. Also, I don't want to tell you the model number yet because I don't want to get anybody excited. I'm getting myself excited, but Kubey's really good about being willing to send samples out, which means they have faith in their product. That's awesome. Anyway, hope some of you guys were entertained. I'm opening some fruit snacks for a hungry Ethan, who is now punching me in the face. So, as always, remember, you guys are all absolutely awesome. I appreciate every single one of you. And I will be back again real soon.